So, another trailer to a sequel to another big movie came out, I should say. Finally, people have been eager to check this out. Ghostbusters Afterlife. So, after the failure of Ghostbusters 2016, a film that I find to be okay. It was okay. Some of the jokes worked. A lot of the jokes didn't work. For every good joke, there was at least one bad joke. I didn't like the visuals. I didn't like the design of the ghosts. Anyway, we won't get into this. So it was really weird to announce that Sony, because they were planning a whole like Ghostbusters cinematic universe thing off of the 2016 film. When it failed, well, I give Sony this. They got determination because they were like, we're going to make another one. This one is directed by Jason Reitman, son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the first Ghostbusters film. And Jason Reitman has been a director for years, and he is a good one. This is not just him, using his dad's fame to do it. He's proven himself as a good director. And the fact that he is attached to the original franchise, and it means that hopefully this franchise, and he said it is very important to him. And I hope he's being genuine about this because, the Ghostbusters fan base, a lot of people, last movie turned them off. Some people obviously were just being idiots about the film. Like, it destroyed my childhood. Really? The movie was so bad, it altered reality, sent back a stream of awfulness, and destroyed your childhood? Right, whatever. I just get irritated when people are like, destroyed my childhood! Oh, how could they do this? Your childhood's fine. You're just being a whiny adult. Calm the hell down. I didn't like the movie, but I can still watch the old movies and enjoy them. Dropping off and picking up. Dropping off. One moment. Funny. Still funny. Oh, it's just... Sorry. Ranting. Pulling it back. All right. So the new trailer for this movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, starts with Finn Wolfhard. Wolfhard? I always get his name wrong. Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things fame. Him and his family have moved to some little town in the middle of nowhere. It sounds familiar. Anyway, he's hanging out with some other teenagers, and this one girl's asking him questions about his family, what he's doing here, and all this stuff. And it turns out that they're dead broke, and they've moved to this little town because their grandfather, who's passed away, just happened to leave this rickety old house and barn to them. So they moved here because they really had nowhere else to go. The trailer goes on, and they're all hanging out by some old mine, and next thing they know, this stream of green energy shoots out of a mine shaft, and it's just like, things are going off. You see the Sony logo? Sony, you freaking idiots. Sorry. A little personal gripe with Sony. Next thing you know, we see Paul Rudd. Everybody loves Paul Rudd, and he's talking about how lately this little town has been suffering from tremors and little earthquakes, but it makes no sense because they're not near any fault lines. There's no logical reason why earthquakes should be taking place in this town. And, we see the shaking, we see the seismometer going off, we see people like, in diners, in their house, Finn Wolfhard cracks a little joke about them dying during the earthquake. But then we see the sister to Finn Wolfhard's character. She finds some kind of little like puzzle thing on the ground. Next thing she knows, she finds an interesting piece of technology, a Ghostbuster trap, a ghost trap to keep it simple. She presents it to Paul Rudd, who's like, "Oh, cool, a replica," and they're like, "A replica of what?" And the next thing you know, we have Paul Rudd explaining that there has not been a ghost sighting in 30 years. And I want to point something real quick. When it was announced in this trailer, because I've read the comments in the comment section, people were like, I haven't seen a ghost in 30 years. A lot of people are like, yes, this movie is totally ignoring Ghostbusters 2016 and sticking it to them. No, they announced a while ago that this movie was back in the original Ghostbusters continuity. It was not going to have anything to do with the 2016 one. I don't think this is a jab. This is just them acknowledging we're back in the original continuity. So people, once again, calm down. Once again, I didn't like the 2016 one, but let it go. We got a new Ghostbusters movie. Hope it's going to be good. Let it go. I probably shouldn't be telling people to let it go. I still haven't let Batman v Superman go. Anyway, hypocrite to the end. Anyway, moving forward. So we see Paul Rudd showing them footage from the 80s of the old Ghostbusters. And I have a tiny bit of a problem. Apparently, these kids have no idea who the Ghostbusters are. They've never heard of them, which I get it. It's 30 years later. They weren't even born when all that stuff went down back in the original movie or even like the second movie. I get that. Here's the problem. Within 10 years, there was not one, but two giant beings walking through New York City. We had a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and then we had the Statue of Liberty walking through New York City. This would be international news, but they're playing it as if this did not expand outside of New York for some reason. Meanwhile, they're watching a video online, I guess on YouTube. What? I never get that. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I understand, like, the kids, like, they need to, like, for the purpose in the movie, the kids not knowing who the Ghostbusters is to explain things, because, the characters are like, we're going on the journey with them, we're learning things with them, but they should know who the Ghostbusters are. There's no reason for the Ghostbusters not to be internationally famous. Even if they're not busting ghosts anymore, the people should know who they are. And I'm not saying this as a fan. I'm saying it just makes logical sense. Once again, giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man running, stomping through New York, destroying things left and right. How would not everybody on the planet know about the Ghostbusters? Once again, even if they've been retired for many years, people should know who the Ghostbusters are. Hell, they should be like at convention signing autographs. If I was, if we watch this movie and that's what Bill Murray's character has been up to, he just goes to conventions signing autographs, I won't be surprised. But yeah, after everything that happens in Ghostbusters 1 and 2, there's no reason why these kids should not, I don't care how young they are. All right? You had a bunch of guys in jumpsuits in the 80s shooting nuclear laser beams at ghosts and giant ghost-controlled monsters. It doesn't make sense that people wouldn't know who the Ghostbusters are, because they're not like 5-year-olds, they're like 12 and 16. They should have heard of these people by now, Like, I never watched a game with Babe Ruth, but I know who the hell Babe Ruth, why did I say the frick? Who the fuck Babe Ruth is? I know who he is. Come on now. I've heard of World War II. I wasn't alive during World War II, but I've heard of it. Like, it doesn't make any. There's some other movie they did this and it didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, moving on. So we see the young sister with a PK meter, and she goes down into this like basement area, and she finds the Ghostbusters' old equipment, the proton packs, all that, the rest of the stuff she didn't find elsewhere. And then we see her hear Paul Rudd ask, in narration, "Who are you?" And then she pulls back the old jumpsuits, and there's the Spangler jumpsuit right up front. Egon Spangler, played by the late great Harold Ramis. These are the grandkids of Egon. Egon must have owned the house, and he's the grandfather that left him the old rickety house and barn. But why? Why would he have some house in some town in the middle of nowhere, and keep all the Ghostbusters equipment there? Well, in the very next part of the trailer, we see something, and I missed it the first time I saw the trailer, that the mine that's in this town, well, the name of the mine company is Shandor, as in Ivo Shandor, the mad scientist from the first film that designed Dana Barrett's apartment building that was a conductor for supernatural energy. Ivo Shandor has a mine, and I'm guessing if he built a whole apartment complex that could draw in an ancient Sumerian god, Sumerian, not Babylonian, right, Sumerian god, I got tripped up there. I'm guessing this mine has some weird stuff going down there. Is he built another conductor to draw in Gozer? And maybe, because then throughout the trailer we start to see a few more ghosts show up. We don't get a good look at the ghosts. They're kind of like fuzzy and all that stuff. But one of the ghosts we do see is we see Paul Rudd in a car, and we see this big claw clamped down on the hood of his car, and it looks like the arm and the claw of the Hell Dogs from the first movie, the one that Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis got turned into. So are we seeing the Hell Dogs come back, or is this a new creature? Well, I don't know. The next thing we know, we see Finn Wolfhard's character. He finds the Ecto-1, turns the key, and goes ripping through like a field of grass or something. Looks great. And then, of course, if you've seen the trailer, the Ecto-1, there's been a gunner's chair added to it that pops out the side of it. And the next thing you know, these kids are driving the Ecto-1, flying down the streets of this little town, shooting the proton pack, trying to capture some kind of ghost. Oh, it gets my nostalgia going. So, yeah. It's going to be coming out next year during the summer. You know, I'm excited for it. I got to admit, I don't want to, but there's a few things I got to point out. So, one thing's going, and I see a lot of people in the comment sections for the trailer for it. A lot of people like how this movie seems to be respecting the original franchise. A lot of people believe that the 2016 one did not respect the original movies. This trailer, does seem to be showing a lot of reverence for the original film, which is a good sign. You know, because after having the 2016 one, you got to let the fan base know that they're treating this with the utmost care. That this isn't just a cash grab. I mean, it's still a movie. It's still Sony. Obviously, they want to make a ton of money. But this one seems to have some respect, some reverence for it. Another thing. The original Ghostbusters movie was a comedy. It was an adult comedy. It wasn't meant for kids, as popular as it did become for my generation. You know, I watched the movies all the time when I was very young. I loved it. I had all the toys. I watched the real Ghostbusters cartoon that came out, you know, all of it. I even watched the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon that came out in the 90s, which is what I was hoping the sequel would always be. I hope it would be a live-action Extreme Ghostbusters, but not calling it Extreme Ghostbusters because, well, the 90s are over. Can't get extreme anymore. Everything was extreme in the 90s. But anyway, the original Ghostbusters was a comedy. Comedy first. It wasn't an action film. It wasn't a superhero film. It wasn't an adventure film. It was a comedy first about a guy's running a business that just happened to save New York City. You know, they're not trying to be heroes. They just, you know, you say you're either born great or you have greatness thrust upon you. Greatness got thrust upon them, and it thrusted them pretty hard. But this trailer doesn't feature a lot of funny moments. It's not boring in that sense. It's just like, you know, it's building, you know, once again, showing the respect, setting certain things up that's going to happen in the movie. You know, it's kind of like, you know, like a slice of life bit of a feeling to it. Then with some added adventure, you know, vibes going on, adventurous tone. But not a lot of jokes, not a lot of comedy in this trailer. That's a little surprising. So that's making me think that maybe this new movie isn't going to be as comedy heavy as the last one. That makes me weirdly concerned because the original Ghostbusters is hilarious. It is. It just great writing, directing, actors, the timing, everything just came together so well. So the fact that this one, I mean, maybe the next trailer will reveal things differently. But I think I might be just, I mean, if they make this new tone and vibe that this movie seems to have to compare it to the old ones, if they make this the new tone and, you know, the aesthetics and the theme, if it works and I'll enjoy it. But I want a Ghostbuster, I want also to be a comedy. Hopefully this trailer is not hopefully they're just holding back on the comedy bits, and when we see the final movie, it's going to be filled with a ton of good jokes and all that, you know, what I think the fan base wants. But if it's different, hey, if they can make it work, fine. You know, as I said in my Jumanji review, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, the first one with The Rock, did things differently than the original Jumanji with Robin Williams, and it worked. So if they're going the same direction as this, then cool. I just want it to work. I love Ghostbusters since I was a kid. I want this to work. Final thing I'll think about this trailer is this trailer kind of reminds me a lot of like the Star Wars trailers for The Force Awakens. You know, you had a little bit of nostalgia, new character. A little bit of nostalgia, new character. Nostalgia, new character. Nostalgia, new character. And at the end of that, the Millennium Falcon peels out and goes, and it's the same one. It's got nostalgia, new character, nostalgia, new character, nostalgia, new character. Ecto 1 peels out, you know. So I feel like they're definitely taking notes from how the advertising strategy from the Star Wars, particularly The Force Awakens. Because it definitely, I was like watching it, I was like, this seems very familiar. Oh, Star Wars. Another franchise that's taken a beating, as I've talked about before on the show. Thankfully, The Mandalorian is doing well, thankfully, and I'm hoping Episode 9 is going to be a good one, too. Oh, man. So, anyway, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping so much it's going to be good. Don't disappoint me. Don't let me down, Jason Reitman. Don't let all of us down. I should have been an actor. Should have been.
Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see a full episode, I live stream every Thursday night on Facebook right after I see the movie, or you can tune in to the Revenge Online Radio Network every Friday morning at 9 a.m. If you enjoyed the show, please consider contributing to the Patreon, patreon.com/POVincent.